Welcome to the Intangible Podcast. I'm here with Julius Thomas. Man, what a tremendous blessing to get to sit down and talk to you.
Thank you.
But also the work that you're doing now in the field that I love today. I actually probably should back up and say Dr. Dr. Julius Thomas. I've not had very many, guys that look like me in this space. And I don't have a degree in psychology, but I've poured probably the last 6 to 8 years into learning about psychology.
Yeah.
How do we take that and blend it into technology to actually help support young athletes?
Yeah.
And so to hear your story and to hear what you're doing in this world, man, I thank you, and I love to follow you, keep up with you. But before we get into that, man, I've had a chance to hear you talk today.
Yeah.
Last night. Take me back to the peak, man, to the pinnacle of, what society would say, you are as an athlete. Take me back to those early days in Denver, catching touchdowns, making Pro Bowls, making a lot of money. What was that? What was those moments like for you?
It was so interesting because my journey was so wild. And I'll take you all the way back to high school because I think it's important to kind of give you the whole framework of what was his athletic journey like? So in high school, I wasn't able to play football because I was having bad growing pains in my back. So I missed my freshman football season. So I played freshman basketball and I was terrible. I was on the freshman team at the end of the bench as a freshman. And I was actually writing about this the other day, and it just triggered this thought. Was my very first game was against Golden Valley in the Central Valley of California, about 2-hour bus ride from our high school. I got in a game in the fourth quarter with 6 minutes left and fouled out. That was my first high school game.
Hey, you used all those fouls, man.
I used all them fouls.
You gotta use them.
And then I remember riding back on that bus and asking myself if I wanted to be a bench player, if I saw myself as a person that should be down at the end of the bench. And I told myself, no, I want to be out there playing. Yeah. And so that whole freshman year, I was grinding, and I only made it to the sixth man. I never made it to starting. And then from there, I got better and ended up getting a college scholarship to play basketball. One of the first people from Stockton, California to get a D1 college scholarship for basketball. And I was like, wow, amazing.
What an accomplishment.
So, I go to Portland State, and then I'm there. Basketball was hard. I was the shortest center in Division I, and I was trying everything I could to play, and it was hard for me. And same thing, I'm at the bench, and then my second year I'm on the bench, and then my third year I started playing more, and then my senior year I was a starter. And so you can see this journey for me. And then I decided, you know what, I think I could be a good football player.
We're still talking about basketball.
Yeah, we're still talking about basketball. Yeah, I'm 21 years old. I just became a starter, right? And so I didn't have these highs. Most of my athletic career was a mix of being at the end of the bench and being a really good player, then being at the end of the bench, being a really good player. And the same was true in the NFL. So when I got to Denver, it was a lockout year.
Oh, yeah.
If there was ever a person that didn't need a lockout, it was the guy that had only been playing football for 11 months.
Bro, and you're talking to the guy who was a first-round draft pick that had that 5-year, and then lockout happened. I think I'm about to be a free agent, about to get paid, and then here we come with the lockout, and now I have to play an extra year under my old contract.
No way.
Yes, with only a 10% bump.
No way.
Oh, I was hurt.
That's
hurt.
Oh, the value lost in that year is crazy.
Oh, hurt.
I didn't know that happened to people because I was just a rookie coming in, and I was like, okay, I got to find a way. What am I going to be like as a pro? I don't know. I was at Portland State. I wasn't playing at Alabama. I wasn't playing at Notre Dame. I wasn't playing at a big school. So I was a Division I AA back then, and here I am. I walked into the facility the first day, and they go, "Oh, you that basketball player, huh? We ain't never letting you catch the ball." Like, oh shit. So my first
Welcome to the
year,
league, baby.
yeah, I ended up being a starter week 1. Like, are you serious? A starter week 1, Monday Night Football versus the Oakland Raiders, which is the same team I grew up being a fan of. Like, what's happening?
Man.
My second game, I get my first catch, tear the ligaments in my ankle, and I miss 2 seasons.
Oh,
So here we go again, right?
yeah.
That roller coaster. And then my third year, after pretty much a whole season of DNPs, is when things started clicking. And for me, I was so vindicated. Like, when you ask, like, what does it feel like? I was vindicated, number one, for the belief I had in myself since I'd been a little kid, for the effort that I put in, right? Like, to keep believing in yourself when you're at the bottom of the roster, when you're the active, inactive list, guy on the sidelines with the hat and the towel, right? Like,
Not a place you want to be.
I knew I could do it. I knew that God had set something before me that I could be great in this game. And I was the only person believing it for a long time. And then to be able to come out and have some Pro Bowl years and to be a dominant threat in the pass game and to be able to make plays for my team, for me, was like, it was rage. It was years and years of being angry and feeling looked over, or feeling like things weren't going my way. And so that vindication was awesome. I got to have some amazing experiences. I got to catch Peyton Manning's 500th touchdown, 51st touchdown. We set NFL records. I showed that I could be a dominant force in the NFL, and I was having a good time, but not all a good time. Like, I had some contract stuff that was hard for me in the time. I took it really hard. I felt like the organization, they weren't honest with me and some stuff. So it was just always a mixed man, but I'm just very grateful.
Well, I think I always like to take things back to our upbringing.
Yeah.
How we grew up, to have that self-belief in yourself. Like, what was your upbringing? What was the thing in your early childhood that shaped that kind of mindset? Because I truly believe that is the foundation where you learn to overcome, you get the grit, all those different things early in our childhood, and other things that start to distract us along the way.
Adolescent development is what sets the conditions. No question about it. As a psychologist, I'm very clear that what happens to you in your family life and what those meaningful years are from 0 to 13 or everything. And so for me, I had 2 parents that always wanted to push me to try to be successful in life. Yeah. And both my parents went to college, and they would always talk to me about, we want you to be successful. They wanted me to be a doctor. They didn't care so much about sports. They were trying to push me to be a surgeon, but I was never into it. And then faith. So I went to Christian school growing up. I'm so grateful for my parents for getting me into that environment. Loved it. And I was always very ambitious. And I come from a place where not a lot of people are ambitious, and not a lot of people are curious about what the world is like and how they can be successful. But I was a reader. And so I read books all the time. Like, I was a guy that used to get made fun of for reading books. I read books on the bus. I read books in the car. And so I was always reading these books around these people that were achieving things. And then I had my parents that were encouraging me to be my best. And then I knew that great things were possible if you had faith in the Most High. And so I think all that came together, and it really made me resilient to the challenges that could come before you in life. And when my parents got divorced, I think that really brought me into reality that life is really hard.
Life is really hard.
Sometimes you're going to have to take it upon yourself, and you have to go push, and no one's going to come deliver it to your feet. So I just had to attack and had to be relentless. And that's still today what I always tell myself: have relentless attack. If you have relentless attack, watch what happens.
Man, in that same vein, talking about attacking, I mean, you have, I believe, 2 of the unique moments in life, as an athlete. And one is, you play basketball, and then you go out in football your last year, and then you end up being drafted to the NFL. That's the first unique moment. Yeah. And I talk about the second one here in a minute that I'm really excited about. But, how did you attack wanting to say, hey, I'm going to step away from basketball and go play football? what was that transition like, and how did you attack that with that same kind of mentality to get there and say, hey, you was a day one starter in NFL. Not many people can say that, man.
You got to be out of your mind a little bit, and you got to be really good at ignoring other people that try to tell you what reality is.
Yeah,
I'm not very connected to reality in using that as a limit. Never have been, never understood why, like, oh, well, why can't I? Well, why can't I? And so when I was switching from basketball to football in college, I had just played an entire college basketball season. And we lost a conference tournament. And I went and talked to the head coach, told him I want to play football. He goes, okay, well, if you're serious, you'll come to the first spring meeting. It's like April 1st. So it's like 2 weeks after the season ended. I'm like, this is going to be a long year. But I hadn't played since 8th grade. And so when I went out there, I thought I was going to play receiver. I told him I want to play receiver. And so I get out there the first day, and the tight ends coach is like, hey, you're with us. I'm like, no, I'm not with you guys. No. That's a whole nother jump. It was going to be enough jump playing receiver. And the head coach was like, no, I think you should try it. I think you could create some matchup problems. He was right, but I was not happy. So now not only did I sign up to do something new, man, I was getting my ass kicked. Man, I'm talking about 4th string DNs was maxing me out, bull rushing me. Man, they was probably laughing, watching tape, having a good old time seeing those reps. Everything was hard. Like, I would have coaches and I would have to tell them, like, what does that word mean? And the coach would look at me like, my gosh, JT, you don't know nothing. I mean, nothing. And I remember asking myself, should I quit or should I keep going? So I talked to my dad a lot, and I would tell him, like, how hard it was. And, like, how hard it was for me not to want to go back to the safety and the confidence of basketball. Oh, should I go play overseas? Should I give this up? And then I had my first catch in a spring practice. I'll never forget the play. 61 wide dragging, 5-yard drag. Man, I caught that ball and I turned upfield, and like, here come the linebacker. Here come the corner. Here come the safety. And I'm standing in the end zone in practice going, WTF.
I just scored.
And the whole team was like, what just happened? And in that moment, I was like, I know I could do this. I just have to keep going. So I created a process. So what I tell people is, you have to have a process that matches your goals. And I knew that I was bad at football, but I had talent. And so I created a process of, I have to outwork everybody and put in more to catch up. And so I was the first person in the building. I was the last person out of the building. Any coach that had any time, what can you teach me? What can you show me? And then I have to run routes every day. And I would call all the quarterbacks on the roster. Hey, are you free? No, I got class. 2nd string. Hey, are you free? No, me and my girl going to the river. It's 3rd string. And I got the reps. Yeah. And then God took care of the rest.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, man. Something that we do have in common. We both played with a Manning.
Yeah.
I was Eli's center.
Yeah.
At Ole Miss.
That's awesome.
And then you play with Peyton. Tell me, like, being around those type of guys, how did Peyton instill that confidence in you? Because I talk about it all the time with young athletes of finding those people that's going to build you up, that want to see you succeed. And the Mannings always was, the guys that like wanted to see you succeed no matter what. So how did Peyton help you in your early success?
It's interesting because Peyton was, he had a lot to say because he wanted to run his system and this is offense. But he wasn't always having like private one-on-one conversations with you or anything like that. But there was this one moment that was really defining in my career. And sometimes when you feel the most unseen is when you need a person to see you the most. And one of the things I tell people a lot are, what are the skills and talents and abilities that you know about yourself that the world doesn't know about you yet? Yeah. And so in my 2nd year when I was getting DMPs, I was kicking ass in practice. And I couldn't come to grips with how I was kicking the defense's butt every practice, and I couldn't get an opportunity. And so we were in Kansas City, we're getting ready for the game, and we were coming down the elevator, and Peyton gets on the elevator. It's just me and him. And I was just like in one of those moments where it was, am I ever going to be able to do enough? And Peyton just randomly looks at me. He goes, "Hey, I just wanted you to know that everybody sees you. We see what you're doing." And I was like, "Oh, what? People see?" Oh, I thought I was just dragging these dudes day in and day out and nobody was noticing. But that was just enough to trigger me to be like, keep going.
Yeah.
And then as I started to become more integrated into the ones on offense, then we started to build a really close relationship because I had a very complex role. And Peyton, what he would do to show me he had confidence and trust in me is he kept increasing my menu. I want you to do this now. I want you to do this now. And he just would not stop. He just kept making my role bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until I played every position, X, Y, Z, F, halfback, every protection. And I just kind of became this guy that he could trust to put anywhere on the field to create the matchups he wanted.
Yeah, that's awesome. I need you to talk to my son. I'm trying to get him to understand that.
Oh, really? What part?
He's a receiver, but I think he's going to be more of that kind of like pseudo tight end guy you can bring out the backfield, that you can put him on the backside of a 3x1, get the mismatch on the safety, digging out on the backside where you get the cutback,
get your head in there
like
a
get your
little
head,
bit.
you got to get you, that's what I think he's going to be. But, I'm Dad, former offensive lineman.
He ain't trying to hear that. He like, "Dad, I wear the highlighter cleats."
Right, exactly. But anyway, man, the second unique thing that I'm, been on the other side, I respect so much for, is that you're at the pinnacle of your career. You're making good money, making Pro Bowls, and then you make this unique decision to step away.
Yeah.
What was that thing that was eating at you inside that made you say, "Hey, I want to step away and go on a different path"? Because again, it's the NFL. You don't just walk away from it.
Yeah. For me, I really felt like my passion was shifting. And so I've always been a person that was very big on following the passion, right? That fire inside of you to go pursue something. I've always been very clear on like, nope, this is what I want to go get better at growing. And when I got to the peak of my career, it was the first time I really became aware of how much I was suffering internally. And I was like, wait, I thought I had all the stuff that was supposed to make this feeling not be here. Right. Something's off. Right. And so I went down this journey into myself to figure out like, okay, what am I going through and why? But then I realized, oh, wait, I'm not the only person going through things. Other people are. And then I started to feel really compelled for them to get help and get better. And then one day the Spirit tapped me on the shoulder and was like, "It's going to be you. You're going to be the one." And I'm like, "What? Hold on, me, huh?" But then it really came down to something of a spiritual test for me. See, I trusted the Lord, and I leaned on the Lord when he was giving me a calling and shifting my passion from basketball to football. But there was a lot in it. Yeah. I was broke. You get to become a pro. You change your life. You can make a lot of money. And so he rewarded me. I trusted this little inkling in my spirit helped me become a millionaire and a Pro Bowler. But the spiritual test is, would you walk away from it if he asked you to? It was a lot of faith to make this transition from basketball to football. But it was a tremendous test of my faith to walk away from millions of dollars. And I used to sit there and think, how much faith do you have? And I was reading the word a lot, and I was going, you going to be obedient? And so for me, it was, if I could trust God when I needed help, I should trust him when I'm in success. And so I decided that he was sending me to go do something. And I've had that mentality from the moment I switched, and to even now, I still pray to this day, Lord, direct this career. I'm off the wheel. I don't want it no more. Yeah. You showed me graciously, here it is, here's it all. Didn't help you, huh? And I needed that experience. Been there,
right? I've been there.
And so that's what made me step into the transition, and what's made me be intensely committed to studying psychology and neuroscience and clinical health. So now that I can start doing the work I do today.
Yeah, man, that's powerful, because I've definitely been in those shoes.
Yeah.
We don't have long. I have to wrap up here. I got to get you back to some other things, but I heard you talk about the other day, and I thought would be early this morning. that I thought would be great for young athletes to hear.
Yeah.
You talked about the 4 R's.
Yeah.
Can you give us a quick rundown of those 4 R's that hopefully someone, whether it's a parent or a young athlete who's listening to this podcast, can take that and write them down and put them in practice?
You know, it's actually very interesting because I've never thought about applying those 4 R's to sports. And, you know, one of the things I do is mental performance specialist, sports psych for the San Antonio Spurs. Like, I'm working with athletes all the time, but I've always saw that as like what corporate teams need. But I never thought about that for youth athletes. So let me think about how I would apply it to youth athletes. So there's 4 R's: regulate, relate, refocus, and reinforce. And so the regulate piece is really important for an athlete because it's your thoughts, it's your emotions, it's your physical health, and your behaviors. If you want to be a leader, if you want to be the person that gets to have a high responsibility and impactful role on a team, you have to make sure your mental health is good. And so you have to make sure that you have positive self-talk. You have to make sure that the garden of your mind is well manicured and orderly. You have to make sure that you understand your emotions, that you know how to regulate your emotions, and you know how to let your emotions inform you, but not rule you.
It resonated with me because I'm having a conversation in the car with my daughter. She plays volleyball, club volleyball, and her emotions started to get out of whack. And I just said, "Hey, what are you feeling right now?
Yeah.
Why are you feeling what you're feeling right now?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't know. Let's learn how to identify that because it's going to become important for you to learn how to regulate. So go on, keep going.
Yeah. So you got to be able to regulate those emotions. They're never going to go away. Yeah. Stop trying to wrestle them down. Yeah. That's you.
Yeah.
These emotions ain't going to be the first time or the last time it comes up. Get good at dealing with it. Yeah. And then you have to make sure that you have the readiness to be at your best performance. All that's part of what you regulate. What do you step into a room? What do people feel from you?
Right.
Are you conducting yourself in a way where your behaviors are setting the tone? And then relate from a youth athlete's perspective. How are you relating to the people on your team and your coaches?
Right. Coach is important.
When you are coming in, are you uplifting your space? Are you a positive force in your team environment? Do you notice when other people need somebody to come pick them up? Do you notice that people are going through something and you can be there to help support them in those times, right? Like if you can regulate yourself and you can relate to people in a very positive and effective way, now you're starting to get elite in your performance. Then you're refocused. It's got the hardest part for a young athlete.
Exactly.
And an adult and a 60-year-old executive. Refocusing is hard because you have to become aware when you're off track. And so you need to think about your goals. You need to think about the performance behaviors or the things that you need to be doing in your setting that help you move closer towards your goal. Everything else is not a performance behavior. Do less of that. Do more of these things that take you to where you need to go. Your interfering factors. What are the things about you, your past, what you learned in your home, what your parents do, that those behaviors and habits get in the way? And then how well are you communicating with people around you? And the last one is reinforce. But really, it's about accountability. How accountable are you? If you have accountability and you're communicating well and you're behaving aligned with your goals and you're handling these interfering factors and you're relating well to people around you and you're regulating yourself and how you show up every day, now you have elite performance and you have elite well-being. And when you start to just stay there as much as you can, watch how you start to separate yourself from the other peers you have and watch what's going to happen to your future.
Man, when you said that this morning, I thought it was so profound to put them into those those buckets of the 4 R's, man. So thank you for sharing that. My last question for you, Dr. Julius.
Yeah.
If you had to go back and talk to your younger self, knowing what you know now and being where you've been, what would you say to her?
If I could go back and talk to my younger self, I would say work harder. And not just pick one area. So I'm sure a lot of the youth athletes that you work with can relate to this. I thought all I needed to do was work hard on my sport. There's so many areas. I was cutting up in class. I shouldn't have been doing that. My GPA that I got, I graduated from high school with 2.7 GPA. I just graduated from graduate school with a 3.85. You should not be going the other direction.
Right.
My focus and effort wasn't there because me and my boys, we weren't taking school serious enough. Yeah. I would have taken schools more serious. I also would tell my younger self that what you feel right now, you need to learn how to master and deal with that. I didn't deal with it, and I thought it was gone until in my mid-20s it showed back up. All those feelings I had in high school, being very angry and very sad about things, I'm stuffing it in.
Body keeps the score.
Yep. But your emotional state is like a garage.
Yeah.
It's very big. You can put a lot of boxes in that garage.
Right.
But if you stack boxes in that garage forever, eventually they're going to spill out. Right. And they spill out in ways you can't control, in ways that are detrimental to you. So I could go back into myself. I would say, what I tell my sons, give your best in everything you do and become one with your emotions to master them.
Man, you just preached for me, man. I really appreciate you. This
Absolutely.
has been fun to hear your story, to see that there's a lot of different paths.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
The main thing still is the main thing from understanding who you are, being aware of who you are, and then how does those transition into real life? Those intangibles are very important. So, man, I really appreciate you joining me on Intangible Podcast.
Man, it's been awesome, man. Hearing your story and getting to learn what you're doing and wishing you the most of success. And just continue to pour into those youth athletes. I hope that this interview is something that they can use as a resource. And it's amazing, man, to get here and be here at this event and get to chop it up with guys like you.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, brother.